Okay, this is the follow-up. First, it'll be a highlight video, but also the follow-up to the. We actually sent out 2 picks. We sent one out last night on HOG, and we sent out an intraday one, which we've never done, on BSDM. So I'm going to talk about both of those, and then show you a couple real nice calls we had in our chat room today, and show you why we called them and how we traded them. But let's just start with HOG, Harley Davidson. As I said in the video last night, we liked it at 28.71. Also 29.01 as a possible add, and 29.17. Well, we just have another non-event day. It wasn't a big deal. Was a no trade. It didn't trigger. However, I did make one call on it today that didn't pan out, and I'll show you what it looked like. Now remember, we like this on the daily a lot over 28.70. Well, it gapped down, so I wouldn't have taken it if it just gapped down and ran straight to 28.70. It would be extended in the short term. But what it did was kind of just trade choppy, and then put in an early high a little after 10 o'clock at 28.56. So then it fought back and then put in this little tight base here. I like bases with the high of day still to the left. As you know, sometimes when you get a nice daily chart and then you get a high of day break, you know, in the middle of the morning, sometimes they'll go ahead and break out and fulfill your daily chart that you were looking for. So having said that, this tight base here had highs of 28.51, and this is what the chart looked like when I called it. I said 28.52 might get us through the high of the day, 28.57. Worst case stop 28.31, but a much smarter, tighter stop was here at 28.43, less than a dime risk. And one caveat here: anytime I call a base with the high of the day, we have you know, several setups that we teach and we look for. This is just one of them. And can be my favorite one if the rest of the chart makes sense, the longer term chart. But one of the rules we have on a base with a high of day to the left, when we want to buy the base break, in this case 28.52, okay, in other words, if it breaks its base right about here with a worst case stop below the base, so it's a nice tight stop. But the important thing is we're only going to give it about 1 5-minute candle, because the momentum from this base break is supposed to carry us to and through this high of the day, and it should happen pretty quickly if it's going to work out. Okay, so the very breakout candle here only went to 28.55 and right back down, and then in the next candle just straight sideways. So we didn't get our within 5-minute fulfillment. We never did get our high of day break. So at this point, I'm not liking the trade anymore, and went ahead and instead of having a stop down here, I went ahead and killed it at 28.44, 45. As it came back down here. Told everybody, hey, it didn't happen quickly like we like for the base with the high of day to the left. So small loss on HOG for me. In hindsight, probably would have been better off just to leave it alone, but it's not out of the realm of possibility for this thing to break this base, get through the high of the day, start printing new highs for the day, and then take out yesterday's high, and then you know, and then start the breakout. That's how breakouts form. They start by knocking down catalysts on a smaller time frame. So anyway, if you look at HOG today, it doesn't, you know, just a non-event day. And then the intraday one we sent out, BSDM. Okay, this was interesting because you had a huge pop here, a nice secondary run, then it finally looked like it was rolling over. As we said in the video, you know, it looked like we pulled in some shorts. A lot of people short these cheap ones that make these what they deem to be irrational moves. But because of this rolling over yesterday, and then gapping up today, it was interesting to me. I thought, okay, we might have some shorts trapped. 60-minute candles now. 337 was today's high. Actually, let's go to 5-minute candles, and I'll show you what it looked like when we first called it in chat. Kind of a tight base here. It's a lower volume stock, so the candles aren't as clean. 328 was the call. I said with a low of day stop for a while to give it a little room. Actually, I think I might have called it at a 321 stop. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. 328, 321 trigger and stop. And then it popped pretty nicely to 335. You know, people could have sold into that if they wanted. I held mine for a while. Ended up selling mine back at the 321. I was going to have a low of day stop, but I'll show you what happened. So then when I saw this, okay, I'll show you what it looked like when I sent out the alert. Nope. Looked like that when I sent out the alert. I liked this base here, and 336 I thought had a great chance, and this is the alert I sent out in the email, and the video was if it gets to 336 with a stop I think at 329. 336 very easily could have, and more than likely would have, taken out the high of the day. You'd have had 338, okay, new high for the day, and at 338, look to the left, what do you have? Just 345 high, so you could have gone 346, and then it's off to the races, I think, because then good chance we get through this high of 358, and then it's just blue skies, okay? So had a good chance. A lot of things stacked up for this thing to possibly go parabolic, and that's what it looked like. And I still believe that 336 could have started those dominoes falling down, but instead it sold off. And as I told the members in chat, I killed this one for a small loss too. So both of those were a small loss, but 336 was the actual trigger that we sent out. So for you guys on the free pick list, it was a no trade. For the members in our chat, it was a 328, which I had said in the video. We bought it at 329-ish, something like that, with a worst case stop down below here. So, and it really just was straight sideways the rest of the day. I'm going to talk a little bit about a trade that first didn't work today and ended up being a huge trade for me. Seattle Genetics, huge gap up on Monday, okay, then an inside red day on Tuesday, but it kind of had a strong finish on Tuesday, but then gapped up today. All right, this is why it was so interesting to me. Remember the setup here, huge volume, then a red inside day, but then today gaps up. Okay, this is sum of Monday's trade. This is all of Tuesday's 5-minute candles. My thinking was people, again, shorting that huge gap up the day after, in other words, on Tuesday, thinking it's easy money shorting it. Well, then they wake up today and it's, we're gapping up. And the early high was 1450. You look at yesterday's early high, 1450. Let me zoom in here. Okay. So now we had a tight range. 1450 not only would be a break of this thing's early tight range, but it would also be a break of yesterday's high. And I thought we had some short straps. So I called this at 1451. Worst case stop 1439. Look what happened. There's the 1451. And then it gave us plenty of time to say, you know what, no follow through. I could have killed it, but I went ahead. I did move my stop up below this candle, as I announced in chat, to 1444. Okay. But it came down, took me out, and actually some of my shares even got filled at 1439, so I had some little bit of ugly slippage as well. All right, and then it came back up and put in this tight base here, and then one of our members, Mo from Miami, hats off to you because you made me a lot of money today. I'll keep scrolling here. Matter of fact, well, I'll show you. When it was 1452 or 3, in other words, when it broke this little tight base, Mo re-alerted the room, gave me time to type out an actual alert that pops up and said SGEN 1456 trigger, 1445 stop. That's an 11-cent risk, and I did get it out in time. And 1456 was a break of the early high, and as you can see, it was off to the races. Ended up getting all the way up to 1520. You know, not a huge move, but plenty of volume there, and I had a nice chunk of that one. 1456, 11-cent stop. And really, after one or two 5-minute, really after the entry, it never looked back. It was one of those, could have gone to a break-even stop immediately, and then just figured out where to sell. And I didn't start selling till over 1480, and sold, I think, more than half of my shares over 15. So ended up being a great trade. 64-cent a share move total on 11 cents risk. So SGEN ended up being very nice. And then one other call to demonstrate the base with the high of day to the left again, kind of like we were looking at on HOG. I called Green Mountain Coffee, GMCR, huge gap down today, as you can see. All right, and this is what it looked like when I called it. I'll try to, whoops. Try to get the gap out of the picture. That's not working either. Let me try that again. Okay, here we are. This is what it looked like when I called it. You can still see the gap, but this tight base here with highs of 31.48. See how it went sideways? The high of the day, 31.70. The thinking is if it breaks this base to the upside, in other words, 31.49, there's a good chance we take out the high of the day, and then we get some short covering because of that huge gap down. Okay, the high of the day was 31.70, so I called this at 31.49. Worst case stop below this base, and look what happens here. This is hard to do. I'm struggling today. I'll zoom back out. Anyway, here was the base break, 31.49, and 10 minutes later, this thing's all the way to 32.18. You know, so that's like what, a 60-cent move in 10 minutes because of that base break with the high of day to the left. So that's a better example. And even though it ended up coming back down, we teach our members at a dime or more, worst case scenario, go to a break-even stop and then start paying yourself. So a nice trade in Green Mountain Coffee as well. And that's all I have for the day. We'll follow up tomorrow night. No more free picks till next week. I apologize that they didn't work out, but for your case, for the people on our free picks list, neither one of them triggered for you. So we'll follow up tomorrow night with a highlight video from our trades, from our highlights from our live trading chat room on Thursday. So have a good night, and we'll talk to you later.